in glorious weather here at Spa-Francorchamps. Cars are on their formation lap for race one of the weekend in the GT2 European Series, powered by Pirelli. And it is a 50-minute race, pit stop window between 20 and 30. David Addison and Joe Osborne trackside. Looking forward to what promises to be a really interesting race indeed, because this year we're looking at bigger entries than ever before, more competitive lineups than ever before. And as you can see, it is a very nice, warm, sunny day. And for some drivers that are doing the race on their own, they are going to know about it at the end of 50 minutes. Pole position to the Ginetta, number 3 of Ethan Giardini, and alongside is Antoine Potti. They each had a class win at Monza. On the second row of the grid, you've got Stefan Rossina in Audi number 88 and Adrian Ferrer alongside, ahead of Shakeup, Kazava and Philippe Pret. Next, Lawrence Tomlinson's Ginetta and the Lamborghini of Oliver Freimuth. Then Thomas Anderson's KTM, Andre Rokosh with his Mercedes-AMG ahead of another of the Mercedes, Alberto De Martin. Then Lara van den Hengel switching from Porsche to Maserati. Marius Eigner is next for KTM, Victor Marash alongside, ahead of Alexis Berthet and the championship leader, David Thelenius, double winner in Pro-Am at Monza. Thomas Uli is next with Max Grip for company. Patrick Michelier is on the back row alongside Wilhelm Kuhne, who's got a 10-place grid drop for causing a collision at Monza with Patrick Michelier. And he now is therefore put to the back of the grid and lines up alongside Patrick Michelier. It's going well so far, this. So we have Ginetta versus Maserati at the front of the grid, and the Ginettas, Joe, around here today have looked really quick.
Yeah, qualifying, they're almost a class of their own, weren't they? It's pole position in this race, but for tomorrow's race, first and second. So looking good. However, it isn't favourable for them in Sector 1, it seems. Sector 2 and 3 with the fast-flowing corners come to them a bit more, but maybe the straight line performance of the Maserati, the Audi and Mercedes, and maybe even the Lamborghini will hurt that Ginetta as we run down the long Kemmel Straight.
Red Ferrari is that of Patrick Michelier at the back. So as you can see, weather conditions heading in the direction of 30. It is almost debilitatingly hot outside, and that's something you don't often get to say about Spa. It's going to be even hotter, we're told, next week for the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. Ethan Giardini then starts on pole position. He will give way to Mikkel Nior, but Antoine Potti in that yellow and grey Maserati, winner in race 1 at Monza, goes solo. So, okay, it's a bit grueling in the temperature, but in theory, that car can run at the same pace. And after the pit stops, he knows what the car is like, knows what the track is like, and that should give him an advantage. However, there is also success to factor into this by way of the compensation time in the pits. Pit stop time is 181 seconds, but if you're in the top 3 in the preceding race, you get extra time. So Giardini has 10 seconds in the pits, Adrian Ferrer 7, Philippe Pret 10, Andre Rokosh 7, Alberto De Martin 7, David Thelenius 10, Max Grip 5, because they're out of the top 3 in the 3 classes. So you've got to factor some of those compensation times into the gaps as we go racing. They're coming up through Blanchimont. This is the part of the circuit where they need to get themselves into that side-by-side order, ready for the race to get underway. And Ethan Giardini versus Antoine Potti, I reckon it's going to be quite a fight.
Yeah, all about that launch, isn't it? We've seen a few penalties last year when cars went over the grid boxes. Monza, everyone was pretty clean, so I'm sure they are all focused on that. So the cars will then split as they come out of this bus stop chicane ahead of the start.
Antoine Potti, then very experienced GT4 driver, had a spell in GT3 last year, and now turning his attentions to GT2, which has also reinvented itself over the winter, not only being for the bronze that wants to go racing, but also now for the young guns. It's another launch pad to a GT or a sports car career. So down they come then into the chicane. On the inside line, you've got that orange and grey Ginetta. On the outside, Antoine Potti there in the Maserati. The blue Lamborghini just caught a glimpse of his Showtrap Kazava's car. There's a lot to look for in this across the 3 classes. Plus, in the second stint, some of the pros coming up the pack in Pro-Am machinery. 50 minutes are on the clock. Light go green. We go racing in race 3 of the year in the GT2 European Series already. We've got one of the Mercedes-AMGs on the grass. It looked like Alberto De Martin's car, but it is going to be Ethan Giardini who leads, and oh so close. There is a little bit of contact because up the inside line, oh dear, mayhem has broken out. I think Rossina got involved in that. Off the road has gone Philippe Pret. Oliver Freimuth's facing the wrong way. I think Lara van der Hengel was through the gravel. We'll have a replay in a moment, I'm sure, but Giardini leads from Antoine Potti in second place, but there was a car on the inside of Antoine Potti. There was contact, and the net result of that was a bit of mayhem. Rossina, I fear, the guilty party, maybe.
Yeah, well, it looked like one of the Mercedes to me. The red car maybe outbroke itself. I think it was the 294 of Rockosh. Potentially, this car just coming into shot seemed to dive to the inside of the source, but there's a huge amount of damage on cars, isn't there? At the moment, it's the walking wounded.
If it was Rockosh, he made a demon start because he was on the 5th row of the grid and he also had to switch sides. We'll get a replay, I'm sure, but yes, you're right, there are damaged cars. Thomas Anderson's KTM being one of them. There is Marius Eigner going through, and Gialdini has also been able to make good his escape, hasn't he? Look at that gap, and I fear for Antoine Potti. He's got Shakeup Kazava in the blue Lambo behind him in 3rd place. In 4th is the Mercedes in the hands of Brandon Oxley, so he's been able to make some progress off the starter. In fact, Adrian Ferrer, it should be, behind the wheel at the timing screen showing Oxley, but Adrian Ferrer, we were told, is going to be the start driver. And as they come through Pouhon then, the field accelerating its way now on towards the Pif Paf. So through they turn, and there, Lara van den Hengel's Maserati trying to get itself back up the order, having been forced wide through the gravel.
Yeah, the timing screen's a little slow to update on the track map, but it seems like everyone has come through Sector 1, so I believe everyone has got going, and we'll see at the end of this lap if anyone needs to come into pit lane for any damage to get repaired.
Indeed so, and there is a car that is compromised, and that is number 8, which is Thomas Yu Lee. That was from the 9th row of the grid, and I fear that he had to take evasive action, was rather badly delayed, and if he's been through the gravel, then maybe there's something ingested in all the wrong places. At the end of lap 1, though, it is Ethan Gialdini leading. The rest come battling their way through the chicane, and Gialdini from Potti from Alcazaba is the order. Over the timing line there is Eigner's KTM. Behind him you've got the very patriotic Belgian liveried Lamborghini in the hands of Alexis Berthet.
Philip Pret in the red Maserati here looks super aggressive, has done 2 cars there under brakes, but at the bus stop looked like he was just going to take a few cars out, but Diaz judges braking perfectly, but he looks fired up after losing a lot of spaces on that opening lap.
Yeah, he's going nicely, isn't he, as the cars now again drop down through Rouge, and you can see the way that Philippe Pret is gobbling up the real estate, ready to start to make progress, and I think Antoine Potti has steadied the ship, and he's getting away a little bit now from Shakeup Kazava, but Adrien Ferro in 4th place has just done the absolute best first sector. There, look, on the inside line, the next of the KTMs trying to make a bit of progress and getting through on the inside line.
Yeah, a bit of bodywork got run over by the KTM there. It's still hard to work out. So have a look for that red Mercedes just behind the blue Lambo. I feel
you're right.
He's the catalyst of all of this to the inside, because he misses his braking point, doesn't he? Slams to the inside of 2 cars, then it all breaks free.
But from 10th on the grid, Andre Rockosh had no real business going for 2nd place on the inside. There's Oliver Freimut who got turned around. There's the contact then. So the Mercedes gets into the Maserati. Then it's a bit pinball, and you can see other cars in the background being whacked left and right. Marius Eigner's KTM amongst them.
I'm surprised Potti's Maserati's okay. It was a big hit on the rear right. This is a Maserati that isn't okay. They're trying to get the tape on this car to get it back out. And I just wonder if that bit of bodywork that did fly off down the camera straight was from Potti's car, and something's going on the rear right, but they need to get this car out in front of this car to stay on the lead lap, and they've only got about 20 seconds, if that, because we're running the full length pit lane here, so it's probably too late already to get all the way down this long pit lane.
Yeah, I did say it on that first lap. I was a bit fearful for Potti, and now we've had a look at the replay. I'm even more fearful given that whack. You're right, it was a big hit. And look at the gap that Gialdini has pulled now as they come down again in towards the chicane. Potti in 2nd place, getting away though now from Alcazaba. And here, a little bit further back, the next fight is between Alberto Di Martin, who is trying to get himself up the order. His Mercedes-AMG is starting to make progress. He's got past Andre Rockosh. He's also got past the KTM there. So as they come through the chicane, more shuffling goes on up towards the timing line, and that's the Thomas Anderson KTM with the damage trying to get back into the mix. So over the line goes Martin, it's Victor Marash in the KTM. Andre Rockosh is there, then Marius Eigner's KTM, and I think Eigner's about to lose out to Philippe Pret, who comes up to the outside line, and the very experienced Monaco driver clears the KTM.
Great move all the way around the outside. It's a long way round, but he got it done. At one point, I actually thought he was going to get the Mercedes of Rockrush as well, but this is where the Mercedes goes well out of Eau Rouge down the long Camel Straight. That Mercedes, I think, would just start to stretch its legs like the Ginetta is doing to Potty. Although last time around, Potty had stopped the tide going as far out, only 8/10 slower, so the gap stagnating slightly at 4.2. And then this is our Masters class lead Lamborghini, third overall. It's been a great opening stint so far for the number 12.
Yeah, and a good start as well, because Abkhazova was on the third row, and now he's in third place, so he comes out of Speaker's Corner, well clear of the class opposition, because Victor Marash, second in Masters, is 9th, and Andre Rockroche, third in Masters, is 10th. And Philippe Pret's had a sort of double whammy in this, hasn't he? Because after being badly delayed on the first corner, he's also got the extra 10 seconds of compensation time to serve. In Pro-Am at the moment, 6th overall, Lawrence Tomlinson's Ginetta leads, and David Thelenius, second. He's made good progress as well, because he started 18th on the grid, Thelenius, and he's up to 7th and second in class.
Yeah, it's been a lot of movers and shakers, wasn't it, after the grenade was let go at turn 1. Just, I'm still amazed how few cars picked up damage on that. I know the KTM has got some rear damage that we've seen, but it could be a lot worse.
And Thomas Hugh Lee is still in the pit lane, we are being told on our timing screen, so there's more damage to that than we anticipated initially, as Alberto De Martin now goes through behind David Thelenius. The incident at turn 1 is going to be investigated after the race. And it is not involving Rockroche, involving Andre Rockroche, interestingly. Car slow on track. Is that Rossina, maybe, who was running in 5th place? So here they come down towards the chicane. So the leader, Ethan Gialdini, Antoine Potty, 2nd, 3rd, Showtram Kazova, 4th, Adrian Ferrer. They've gone through, but we should have had Stefan Rossina across the line, and Lawrence Tomlinson is up to 5th. So yes, Rossina was the slow driver with a problem. Yeah,
it's our only Audi, isn't it? It's just such a Maserati livery on the Audi. It's quite hard to distinguish, but it had been going fine for the Audi of Rossina, and now Philippe Pret is getting dived by the KTM.
Oh, and more contact for Pret. Well, this time he's not off through the gravel, but again, we'll now see the strength of the Maserati. That was a big, big hit, and Victor Marash drops back behind Marius Eigner and Laura van den Hengel as well in the Iron Dames Maserati. That was a bit clumsy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what Marash was hoping to achieve there. He got overtaken the lap before by Pret, who was 2 seconds a lap quicker. So to have a look back was optimistic. Maybe a missed braking point from the KTM, and his only sort of way to go was down the inside, but looked clumsy at best, that.
Meanwhile, the gap here coming down for 3rd place. It's Masters versus Silver, so anticipating Showtram Kazova to give up the place relatively soon, because he is being caught by a quicker car. But Adrian Ferrer is going very well, and Ferrer has in fact done the absolute best in the first sector on this lap. Down now through Pouan. So Lamborghini hangs on to 3rd place. 4th for Mercedes-AMG. It is Ferrer 4th. And all the time, Ethan Gialdini is building the lead. And he has to, because he's got 10 seconds extra to serve in the pits. And Antoine Potty has no compensation time. The gap at the moment is up to 5.6 seconds, but it's still advantage Potty.
Yeah, he's kind of halfway there, isn't he? Halfway into this opening stint where they potentially could box in the next 11 minutes. And yeah, the Mercedes now dropping off the back of the Lamborghini, and that's always the problem with the dirty air. You start to work your tyres more, and maybe that's what this silver Mercedes of Ferrer is just starting to struggle with, and not able to stay with that blue Lambo.
Battle on here, Marius Eigner and Laura van den Hengel. This is for 11th place overall, and they're both running in Pro-Am as Laura gets up the inside. Doesn't quite make that move. That's a very unusual place to see a move be made. And Laura van der Hengel didn't quite make it work, but Marius Eigner fends her off for now at any rate. Behind, you've got the charging Thomas Anderson trying to rebuild his race in the KTM. And he's on the tail of then now Marius Eigner's car, getting closer all the time as they drop towards the... Sorry, Victor Marage's KTM is the one he's got himself onto the tail of. And then behind them is Stefan Rossina. So Rossina is still going. He hemorrhaged all those places last time, almost like he had to do a Control-Alt-Delete and restart the car, but he has got back into the race. There is Andre Rockroche getting ahead of 115 Alberto De Martin. That's for 7th. and less dramatic than Rokosh trying to gain places off the same corner on the first lap.
And here's Rosina in the Audi trying to get past. 22 seconds he lost on that slow lap, so I think you're right, it must have been an off and on, but I wonder what caused the issue, and is it going to be a recurring thing if we've already had it as that De Martin going slowly?
It is, and has he got a puncture? The car looks low a little bit on one corner, but certainly slow. So Alberto De Martin limps up the hill. You can see there Victor Morash goes past him, Stefan Rosina goes past him, and now De Martin sort of picks up pace again. So certainly not a tyre, apologies, but he is struggling for pace. And again, he's really slow up the Kemmel Straight, isn't he? Round the outside, tries there to go Alexis Berthet, but to no avail. The recovering Oliver Freimuth is next, and De Martin has eventually to give up the unequal struggle here, but that's like in limp home mode.
Yeah, but its top speed seemed okay. It suddenly came alive, and it's gone back, so it could be an intermittent problem, maybe stuck in a high gear. I'm just trying to listen, can't hear anything, can't see anything, but yeah, that's going to be back to pits this lap unless he can do a Rosina and fix it while on the fly.
And it's happened early in the race as well. 38.5 minutes still to go. Lead gap up to 6 seconds. This gap was only 6/10 when they came across the line. Abkhazova ahead of Adrien Ferrer. So they go through not quite as one. Got to say, Abkhazova is doing a very good job of hanging on to third place. He's got a real career racing driver behind him. Shota Abkhazova, mightily experienced. He's run championships, run teams, owned circuits, raced himself, and goes well. In the last few years, we've seen a lot of him in Lamborghinis, whether it's been in Super Trofeo or in GT2. Remember, he came to Misano last year, had Igor Orochev with him as a co-driver, and Abkhazova always has good pace. Out of La Source, they turn, and the lead gap continues to grow. That gap up to 7/10, and now Lara van den Hengel tries to make a move against Marius Eigner for 10th place. Eigner fends off the Iron Dames Maserati, a car that we've seen a lot of, but not in these colours. It's normally in gold, and it's the dynamic motorsport car of Calamia and Pampanini. Still got that little bit of bodywork flecking off the rear of Thomas Anderson's 11th place KTM. There it is. And it's pretty resilient. And now look for third place. Ferrer, absolute best sector one with a toe up the hill, right onto the tail of Abkhazova.
Yeah, this is now where you just got to stay close with the Lambo. Realistically, the only overtaking spot before the end of the lap is into the bus stop chicane. But I think it'd be better if he can stay close. Then at the end of the Kemmel Straight into Lecoupe next time by, then this car's got a chance to maybe get up to an overall podium position. But the Lambo very quick in Sector 2, already getting away from this Mercedes.
Absolutely right. So downhill they plunge. And Adrien Ferrer just illustrating how a GT2 balanced performance works, because he's great going through certain sectors, as into the pits limps De Martin, and then the car loses time in others. So with this problem, in comes Adrien Ferrer, in comes Alberto De Martin in the sister car, and maybe it was a puncture after all, because the front left is changed. Front right is changed, I should say, and that wheel doesn't seem to want to go on. So could it be something in the suspension? Yeah,
the angle it was trying to go on it was odd as well, wasn't it? Like a huge amount of camber, so maybe something more there. So first port of call probably was just to whip the wheel off and then see, but it wasn't going on as smooth as they would hope, that's for sure.
Right, this is Andre Rokosh trying to fend off Philippe Pret. This is for second in Masters as well now. So not only is it 7th overall, it's important for class points. The Mercedes-AMG has 7 seconds to serve in the pits and 10 for that Maserati of Philippe Pret. And he's all over him like a rash as they come now on towards the Cours Paul Frere. Pret to the inside, can't find a way through there. Rokosh dabs the brakes, but he's under massive pressure now from Philippe Pret. Double champion in what was then the AM class, now renamed as Masters, and he's right on the back of that Mercedes, heading up towards Blanchimont.
I wonder if Pret knows it's Rokas that caused the ruckus at turn 1, and he's got a bit of vengeance in him, or it all just kicked off so quickly. He's maybe unsure who was the issue creator at turn 1, but Pret will want to get past that Mercedes as this 3-car battle comes into the bus stop.
So through they come, clock ticking on down. Pit window, remember, 20 to 30 minutes. So we've got another 5 or so before we need to worry about pit stops. And Pret again makes his move towards the outside line, up towards La Source, wide in, tight out. might be the plan here, and he gets the drive off the corner, but then the tail wags. He goes for the inside line past the endurance pits, and they touch it into the wall. Goes Rokosh. Pret survives, and Andre Rokosh's Mercedes-AMG, he's going to be out of the race. You can see the liquid coming out of it, the steam, the smoke, and it's parked itself in a pretty awkward place. He's going to try and limp downhill, but visibility is at a premium for him.
Yeah, hopefully he can get to the end of the pit wall in a timely manner, because the problem is the delta closing speed's huge here, and you're right, the liquid coming out is going to be an issue next time by as well. I wonder if we're going to get a preventative safety car to stop cars flying through there. 160 miles an hour as you turn into Eau Rouge on liquid is not a fun experience.
Yeah, for some of that straight he's offline, but it depends where he parks the car and whether he does move any of that liquid across the racing line. The pit window is coming, so all of a sudden race control is going to be busy. There into the pit lane is Thomas Anderson. Now remember, that was another punctured tyre, but that was a car that was damaged at the start, and maybe that tyre has finally gone pop, and there is Rokosh. He has parked it, and no surprise.
Yeah, he's actually done a very good job there. He could maybe have tucked it more to the right, but remember, that is the active pit lane exit there, so he wouldn't have wanted to be there with cars coming out of the pit lane. Yes, pit window not open, but cars are in pit lane throughout this race, of course, with issues at the moment. It was an interesting one. We saw Pret get alongside, and it felt like this car, Rokosh, was squeezing him over, and Pret just went, no more, I'm not going to move. And he turned himself around. Could have Philip Pret in the Maserati gone closer to pit wall? I think yes, but it felt like the trajectory of the closing angle was the Mercedes doing the closing. That was my first gut reaction. I think the replay will probably have to dissect it a little more.
Well, the race leader remains Ethan Gialdini, and he's now 6.7 seconds ahead of Antoine Potti. He is not getting away to the level he needs to clear it. Let's have another look. Pret sideways, he's up the inside, and Rokosh tries to move across. There's not much that Pret could have done. No,
there's still space to the pit wall where he could have gone over, but he doesn't have to. Like I said, the angle was getting closed off by the Mercedes. It's going to be an interesting one for the stewards. I mean, Rokosh has been in the wars, hasn't he, in 18.5 minutes of this race already. So, yeah, be interesting to get his thoughts on it, because that would have been quite a scary moment.
Yeah, we've seen rather spectacular accidents at that part of the circuit in the past in the 24 hours, for example, but that thankfully only really involved one car with significant damage. But Pret's also had a lively race, being on the receiving end of other people's dramas twice. So we've got 32 minutes, 2 minutes and 11 really before we get to the pit window. That's Abkhazova, who has been driver of the stint for me thus far, to hang on to third place overall against the Silvers, and he's the Masters leader. I think that's been quite an effort. Yeah, really good. Actually, I think he's been involved in 3 incidents. Turn 1, and then the KTM dive bomb of Miraz, and then that third one there. So he's had it very lively in that Maserati. Luckily for him, doesn't seem to be any damage on his car that will slow him down for the remainder of this race. But it's a good advert for Maserati, this, to show how durable the cars are. There's another of them, Laura van den Hengel, still stuck behind the car of Marius Eigner. Good work by the marshals to get that Mercedes-AMG out of the way, and therefore pit exit clear. Phenomenal. In a live pit lane, like we said at the start, they've done really, really well there. Very efficient to keep this race under green. And yeah, the only thing they need to worry about is not blocking the safety car in, but they've done a very quick job, thankfully, keeping us under green. Laura van den Hengel then about to have a look to the inside at Pouhon, thinks better of it. Road is green again from turn 1 down the hill, as here at Pouhon, this fight continuing for 9th and 10th places. Philippe Pret still going in 8th. Bit of damage on the front of Eigner's KTM as well. Rossina, by the way, back up into 7th after his earlier delay. Yeah, the splitter on that KTM front right, as we look at it, definitely lower than this other side, and there's some damage there, so the bodywork starting to put away the splitter and bumper, trying to become 2 separate entities, and that could be a problem around such a fast track like Spa. As soon as you get that bodywork rubbing, you're losing aero and creating drag, so maybe that'd be the chance for the Iron Dames Maserati to get past. Well, in theory, at the end of this lap, that KTM could pit and they could tape it up, try and lift the bodywork and tape it into place. Meanwhile, lest we forget, Ethan Gialdini is your runaway race leader. 7.8 seconds now. He's got to make 10 over Antoine Potti to be making sure that Mikkel Muir, his co-driver, is still in the lead the other side of the pit stops. But Gialdini has done a really good job up from GT4 to GT2. So leads his finest constructor. The Ginetta leads the way, and now Adrien Ferrer makes his move for third place, and he goes by at Les Cons.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be his best opportunity, although he did go in deep. Managed to just slow the momentum of this blue Lamborghini as the pit window is now open. But yeah, that's taken a long time, hasn't it? And now Ferrier will try to make as much time as he can on the remaining part of his stint.
Now, Karsava doesn't have to worry about any compensation time, so he ought to be good in that blue Lamborghini to hang on to the class lead the other side of the pit window. The stewards are going to be busy, I think, with quite a few things to look at post-race as Mike Simpson gets ready to go in the Lawrence Tomlinson Ginetta. He's on pole position for the second race, tomorrow morning's Espresso Trophy that starts about 9:20. Tomlinson is currently 5th in the race and is leading Pro-Am. He's some way back from these cars, nearly 20 seconds, but he is still a class leader, as Karsava, in fairness to him, is staying with Ferrer for that 3rd place.
Yeah, and sometimes once you get overtaken by a faster car, you can learn a few things as well. So you might be picking up a few different lines, some apex curbs to use, some curbs to avoid. So this could actually help him throughout the race being a solo driver.
Down to the chicane here comes Ethan Gialdini. He could box, but he doesn't. Stays out to try to do another lap. Great noise from that Ginetta as it growls its way up to the line. There, Michael Muir getting ready to take over, and Antoine Potty comes in now to get his stop out of the way. That Pret and Ocos accident's going to be looked at after the race. So the incident between Pret and Andre Rochos will be looked at once the checkered flag falls and the stewards have got a bit more time. Into the pit lane also comes Karsava. So this is another scheduled stop. Interesting that the soloists are coming in largely first to get those stops done.
Yeah, I think the reason the Ginetta are staying out, and here's the teammate getting ready to jump in, and I think they're just trying to make sure they've got that 10-second gap so they don't have to overtake Potty on track. So that could be done by the end of this lap. I'd expect them to do one more, mainly because Michael Muir doesn't even have his race suit up yet. He's got his helmet on, but race suit was still down by his waist. Being so hot, the driver's trying to stay as cool as they can for as long as they can.
So Ethan Gialdini, then race leader. This is Shotram Karsava, who's got out of the car, cools himself down, throws water into his crash helmet, and there's a whole traffic jam here because that's Rossina who's ground to a halt again. And now there are 3 cars behind whose races are being ruined. Remember the 24 hours a few years ago? Was it Hugo Cook's car that expired and it delayed Alessandro Pierguidi's Ferrari? Well, we've got a real disaster going on now because there are 3 cars very badly hamstrung. All race control can do now is to shut the pit lane and stop anybody else coming in. It's in the worst place because there are no marshals nearby. Let's have a look. Rossina dives to the inside. He gets up the curb and then comes into the pit lane. But having gone up the curb, it looks like the car's lost momentum and it's in the pits and then it grinds to a halt. It did it on track earlier on and you can't get past it.
Could he have tucked it closer to the wall? That 111 Mercedes was wise to stay in front.
Yeah.
Imagine if that move had been done. Luckily for Lawrence Tomlinson, he's in. Door will get closer, go back behind the white line. Nice cuddle and embrace. Dump churns going in to get some more fuel. The car's so thirsty around this fast track. Getting 25 litres of extra fuel every dump churn they put in. Yeah, the only way they can get that car is the pickup truck in pit lane reverses to it, isn't it? And gets the hook on. But you're right, 2 V10 cars have gone. They're actually doing, wow, to push
There's another one in the queue. The queue has grown. It's now 4 cars.
Why the team's not communicating to drivers to stay out.
Yeah.
The pit window's another 6 minutes. It now comes up on our timing screen, pit entry block. But I think they'd be better to push the car to the side and squeeze cars through potentially.
There's your recovery vehicle. You've just seen it coming to the pit lane, so anything with a rope will do. But anybody that's made their pit stop now has had a real win. So Gialdini staying out anyway, but quite right too. It helps Antoine Potty no end, doesn't it? Because over some cars, he's going to have a mega advantage. And Stefan Rossina's car grinding to a halt in the pit lane, whether it was a legacy of the earlier issue or going over the curb, we'll have to wait and see. There's a seething Marius Eigner who can't get through. The intervention vehicle drags Rossina out of the way. And how long have they been stuck there? A minute?
Oh, is that KTM not moving? This is my worry because the cars are boxing in a hot position. Have they now got their own issues with heat sink? Maybe batteries going flat. Those marshals have done a phenomenal job with the first one and it finally goes. So we should be okay.
But this has really ruined the chances of some teams over others. Undaunted by any of this, Mike Simpson is ready to go. And now the pit lane is open once more. But Can't make it up, can you? Right, bit of a hesitation getting away from Mike Simpson, but he is on his way down the pit lane now. That's Simon Birch, KTM, just ahead after damage has been repaired. I don't think we anticipated that sort of drama. We've had plenty on the track. Every other race today has had a safety car, but nobody else has had a pit lane entry blocked. So there is Gialdini yet to come into the pit lane for the routine, the schedule, the regulation stop. Race leader, pit entry is free now. In other words, the cars that had expired have been moved, and whether Rossina can make it back into the race, I rather doubt. It would have been Louis Pratt taking over that car. So is this the lap in which Ethan Gialdini comes to the pit lane? Well, let's see. He's got 4 minutes of the window remaining.
Yeah, and the laps he's been pumping in on this sort of overcut strategy have been fast, all in the 22s. For reference, Potty, who's trying to gap to, was in the 24s on his lap before he goes for another lap. So at the moment, if the pit stop is quick for this car, I expect them to be able to keep the leaders. We've got double wave yellows. Is that a legacy? I think they've just been cleared, haven't they? Pit lane now done. The marshals have done their job well and returned to post. It's
a long stint, this, by Gialdini. Bearing in mind, Mikel Nuhr went even faster in Q2 than Gialdini did in Q1. It's interesting that they've still not put Mikel Nuhr into the car. You saw him sat there visualising a lap around the Spa circuit, but he has yet to get into the car. Into the pit lane now is Adrien Ferrer from second place, and that's how you should get down the pit lane. No dramas at all.
Easy as that, isn't it? It's like when you're leaving a multi-storey car park, you always choose the wrong lane behind someone that can't reach the ticket machine, and they have to get out of the car, and then the car's still in drive, and they drive off without it, and it all goes wrong. That's that awkwardness of the pit lane here at Spa. But other pit lanes around the world are only one car wide. I think it's because it is uphill as well. When you do break down, there's no gravity, momentum to get you in there. But to have two instances of that, like you said, David, the 24-hour race, and now here, it really is a painful existence for many drivers.
Big move here from Simon Birch around the outside of Oliver Freimuth. Nicely done. And Mike Simpson's trying to buy into this as well. Freimuth goes for the pit lane. Simon Birch has lost a lap because of the pit stop with the puncture and the damage. So this is not a true battle for position. But Mike Simpson goes over the line. Still looking good. 10th place he is. And still leading in Pro-Am ahead of David Thelenius, who will give that car now over to J. Mo Hartling, who was the joint winner with him at Monza. So that's your lead car. Ethan Gialdini heading towards a pit stop. He's really got to come in this time, hasn't he, to be safe, because otherwise he'll be the wrong side of the window closing.
Yeah, just starting to get held up slightly by that Mercedes, isn't he? So this will be hurting ever so slightly. It's a hard one, because if he lunges him into the bus stop, he'll probably lose more time because he goes straight into pit lane, but he's probably going to have to stay behind and then peel into the pits at the end of this lap. Otherwise, he will exceed his maximum stint length.
Indeed so. So Mikel Nuhr will be ready, and Ethan Gialdini then, being held up a little bit by that Mercedes ahead, comes down into the chicane. It is the 1-1-0 car from the back of the grid. Moritz Wiskirchen has taken over from Wilhelm Kühne. The leader is entered the pit lane, and Ethan Gialdini now needs to be mindful of where the limit is and not speed as he comes over that white line at pit in. So Antoine Potty, in the meantime, has an opportunity now to put himself into the lead of the race. He was within the 10 seconds that Gialdini and Nuhr must serve extra in the pit. So this car should lead now once it goes past the pit lane, because it'll get past the Ginetta.
Yeah, this is to get back on the lead lap, though, is it not? Because the minimum pit stop time being so long of 181 seconds, he's going to get his lap back this time by, and then next time is for the lead.
Yes, correct. So what I was meaning was he will get into the lead when he goes past the pits on either lap, really, or the key lap, because he's got 10 seconds less to serve. And unless it was a slow pit stop for Antoine Potty, then it's a done deal because he was within that 10 seconds. So, yeah, this, you're right, gives him the lap back. Next time around, it will put him into the lead of the race, but he will take the lead while the Ginetta is in the pit lane. So, Gialdini gives way, and Brandon Oxley takes over from Adrien Ferrer. There is the Ginetta. It's been a long drive down the pit lane. The good news is that when Mikel Nuhr is ready to go, he doesn't have as much pit lane to worry about. The door won't close, but it does now. And the reason the car has to be empty is so it can be refueled. So you run it a bit lighter, then you top up the fuel the other side of the pit stop. You can do it in the races, you can do it in practice. There is the Antoine Potti Maserati then, which is racing this car and the clock at the moment. So the refueling is done. Mikel Nior is ready to go. CMR, Classic Modern Racing, operating that Ginetta. And you look at it and you think, well, they're going to keep the lead. Look how much of a lap they have over that Maserati. But yet, Mikel Nior still needs to get in, needs to be strapped in. And it's 181 seconds, plus 10 for winning the class last at Monza.
Yeah, by my rough math, they should be leaving with about 18 minutes and 30 seconds, and they should be leaving the pit exit with 18 minutes and 20 seconds. So, yeah, at the moment we're 50 seconds away from that car leaving. It's going to be very tight because that Maserati Potti is coming into sector 3 now, which should take 40 seconds, plus the time to get to pit exit. So it is going to be very close because of the pump laps that Ghiogini put in on that overcut strategy. This could be close for the lead.
And under investigation for its pit stop is 119, the Marius Eigner Reinhard Koffler KTM. Here is Antoine Potti then up through Blanchimont. You can see on the clock 18 3/4 minutes of the race to go. That's the car that they are trying to jump on the pit stops, and that's the other side of La Source. So there's still quite a bit of real estate for Potti to go through, but he's at full race pace. That Ginetta remains stationary, and then it's got to get to the pit lane speed limit for the drive down the hill before it can leave the pit lane. So Potti is on his way. The Ginetta gets going now, and as you can see, there's not much pit lane to go in terms of being down the hill. You've still got the pit lane exit going up. It is going to be close, as you say. There is the Ginetta, and there in the background is Antoine Potti. So Ghialdini, by staying out late, looks like he's given Mikel Nior the perfect car and the perfect gap, hasn't he? Because although it's going to be reduced, Mikel Nior stays ahead. So Ghialdini, by staying out as long as he could, was able to build that gap.
Yeah, some really good in-laps effectively on that Ginetta versus the Maserati there, and the gap's going to be, what do you think, 3.5 seconds here. So it's now all up to Mikel Nior how quickly he can get up to speed against Potti, who's been in the car for the whole duration of this race so far.
Yeah, Potti knows the car, knows the track, whereas Mikel Nior is trying to feel his way in and also do qualifying laps to try and build the gap again. So that's Antoine Potti down through the double right of Bruxelles, left in a moment at Speaker's Corner. He will turn. And the way that Mikel Nior went in qualifying does suggest that he's got the pace, and Antoine Potti missing out just a little. So the Mikel Nior pit stop time, absolutely to perfection, 3 minutes 11. Should have been 3 minutes 1 plus 10 seconds, and they were just half a second the wrong side of it. So absolutely perfect pit work.
Yeah, that's what you need when you're looking for tenths on track. You need your team to deliver the same. The Sister Ginetta and Mike Simpson still trying to get past these KTMs, which will be frustrating for him because that car's got pace, but it seems unable to get past these KTMs cleanly as it does finally get past the first one, but still behind that lap car, isn't it, of Simon Birch?
Yeah, and that car that he's just passed of Reinhard Koffler, who's putting a lap on as well. So, yeah, you're right, Mike Simpson being dealt a bad hand here in the traffic as they come now down through the long left of Pouhon. Heading up now to the Piff Paff once more. So Mikel Nior is the race leader. The 898 KTM briefly second, but that was largely because it hadn't pitted. It has now. There going by is the Iron Dames car. Sarah Bovy, the Belgian racer at the wheel, the Grand Marshal at Le Mans a week ago. The first ever non-winner of the race to be afforded the luxury and the privilege of being the Grand Marshal. So Mikel Nior trying to get away from Antoine Potti. Mike Simpson trying to get through the traffic. Simon Birch in a KTM, though, is a very quick combination, so Mike's going to struggle a bit, especially given that Simon Birch needs to stay ahead of Reinhard Koffler. Shows you, doesn't it, how much time the Koffler and Eigner KTM lost in that traffic jam. The same also for Sarah Bovy and Laura van den Hengel, because they tumbled down the order.
Yeah, there's nothing that can be done. It's not like the race officials just give you the lap back. It's force majeure, and it's happened, unfortunately, but that will be really gutting. And yeah, it'll be interesting to know what the problem was for Racina in that Audi.
Who is still in the pit lane. The lead gap, 3 seconds. So now Mikel Nior has had an outlap. He now has no excuses other than to push on. And Antoine Potti is a little bit quicker in the first sector by about 0.4 of a second. So now the fascination comes Can Antoine Potti do anything about the Legionetta? In third, shakeup Kazava, and number 119, which is the Eigner Koffler KTM, 13-second time penalty for a short pit stop. The irony being, it sat there for about a minute in the queue, but that was before the pit-in line.
Yeah, that's what's worse than salt, some battery acid in a wound, isn't it? That is quite, I mean, the rules are the rules. Race control can't bend them for anyone, but yeah, massively frustrating.
But I think maybe that's where the team has slipped up. They looked at the watch and thought, well, he's spent so much time in the pit lane, we're going to be safe, not realising that that traffic jam was actually before the pit-in line, before the time starts.
The only other excuse as well, a lot of the teams use a GPS timer for their pit stops. Maybe that had turned off with the car being fired back up, so didn't power up in time for it to cross the line and start, and they had to go to there's a lot of interesting things that have happened into that pit stop that don't normally happen in a GT2 race.
So what we can confidently say is that Reinhard Koffler gets a 13-second time penalty at the end of the race. Meanwhile, Ethan Gialdini has done the fastest lap. This is 111 J-Mo Hertling, who won the second race at Monza, and right now he's chasing Mike Simpson for the Pro-Am lead. And the gap between those two is nearly 10 seconds.
Yeah, he was the fastest man on track last time by, though, so he's a guy to keep an eye on as he tries to bring down that gap. Both these cars, like we said earlier, are affected by, and there's that damage on that KTM. You can see it wobbling there, so it's still getting worse. And the fear there as a driver is the splitter going under its own tyre, and then you lose a lot of braking and steering ability.
And this is for position, this little battle. Reinhard Koffler versus Sarah Bovey. It's 14th overall, and it's also for a Pro-Am place. It's going to be 5th and 6th in class. They've dropped back behind Simon Birch. So even though he lost masses of time with damage and a puncture, it countered by the fact that these cars got stuck for a minute or so, if not more, in that traffic jam at pit-in. Gialdini is 3.5 seconds up the road. Sorry, he's not. Michael Nuhr in Gialdini's car is 3.5 seconds up the road now over Antoine Potti. Gialdini has still got the fastest lap of the race, and although Antoine Potti is doing personal best sectors, he's not getting close enough.
Right, he's going to have to dream big, isn't he, to get somewhere near the lead. Interestingly, Potti doing the fastest sector one he's done of the race on that last time by, though, so he's looking after the tyres. Brandon Oxley doing a purple sector one too, so the Mercedes seem to be very, very good at looking after that front tyre. It seems more than they did at Monza. You could say the same with the Maserati.
Sarah Bovey on the attack then to the outside line to get past Reinhard Koffler. This is KTM versus Maserati. It is for 14th and 15th places, and Sarah looking the quicker of the two now, but Reinhard Koffler, champion 2 years ago, being just able to hang on to the place as they come again down towards Bruxelles.
Yeah, and the way the penalty was put on our screens, it's going to be 13 seconds added, isn't it? It's not going to be a drive-through here because the pit lane is too long. The penalties don't fit the crime, so the time penalty is just being added to your race time at the end, which I prefer, I have to say. I think it's a cleaner spectacle and keeps cars in the race.
Sarah Bovey trying to work out where she can attack now as the cars again come out of Pouhon. This is the run up towards Pif-Paf, and only 11.5 minutes to go. It's been another lively race as Reinhard Koffler, KTM, Sarah Bovey, Maserati go through Pif-Paf, and now J-Mo Hertling has done the absolute best of anybody in the first sector. So as the race leader has just gone over the timing line, he's under attack from Potti, and Hertling is charging along to try to catch Mike Simpson for a class lead. Lead gap's gone up though, 3.7 seconds. Michael Nuhr, the race leader, I think has now managed to assert himself and get into a rhythm. There's not a lot Antoine Potti can do.
No, his only chance now is a late safety car, you would actually say, wouldn't you? Because the gap is so stable, and that's what we see between the pros. We're hearing from Bryn Lucas in pit lane that Stefan Messina says it's a drive shaft that failed. So as he's had to hop over that curb in avoidance of clashing with the Mercedes, the drive shaft's gone, and then he's unable to get the drive up the hill into pit lane.
What the first issue was, therefore, sounds like something completely different. But Koffler comes over the line with Sarah Bovey behind. Simon Birch up the road is gaining places. He's up to 12th at the expense of the red Ferrari. You get to look at the back of it there. Patrick Michelier's car that was damaged at Monza, but going better here. And Andre Rokosh is the other one, of course, that we've lost in the race with that damage sustained at this part of the racetrack a few laps ago. Simpson versus Hartling. It's an interesting battle, this, and the gap's coming down as far as the Pro-Am lead is concerned. SRO Bovy now makes a move, and with a toe has the grunt in a straight line, and he's ahead just, but on the outside line going up towards Lecon. Koffler has to let the Maserati go.
Yeah, really, really good move to get it stopped as well. You always get an inkling, are they going in too hot? But we got to the apex, Ferrari getting out the way quite nicely. Yeah,
and that was for position as well, because he didn't have to move. That wasn't like he was being lapped. Maybe Patrick Michelier suddenly saw two really quick cars and thought, they're lapping me. But that was for position, so they've just gained 13th and 14th places as well.
Yeah, that was an easier one. I guess Michelier probably not realising these cars had lost a lap in pit lane, but the speed difference, 4 or 5 seconds a lap last time by, so it probably made it easier for everyone with that move from Michelier.
Brandon Oxley fourth, being warned about track limits, and also Simon Birch, KTM, being warned about track limits right now. SRO Bovy then, after that good move, getting away as well. You get the feeling the Maserati suits these two.
Yeah, more than the Porsche for sure, and yeah, they're going really well, and it's a big adjustment as well, swapping cars race to race, and it's a big swap as well from a Porsche Cup car to this Maserati GT2, so they found their feet very quickly, and it's been driven really well. You can just tell by the body language of the car hitting the right apexes, good squat as she jumps on the power, and the car squirms out the corners.
There is Michael Muir, the race leader, and now he's 4.7 seconds ahead. The starting gap was 3, so I think we can safely say that Michael Muir now is away and gone, and Antoine Potty, after not scoring in race 2 at Monza, just needs to back points. But this Ginetta could be carrying another 10 seconds into tomorrow's race.
Yeah, it looked like that, wouldn't it? At this point, with the gap and the pace for the Ginetta, I think the team will be telling them just to manage the tyres, don't push through any understeer, don't light the rears up, even any curbs you can avoid, just to make sure that you don't get a small issue towards the end of this race as we go to our 3rd place overall, but our lead car still in the Masters. It's been a really easy run, hasn't it, after turn 1, where it all kicked off, and this car did have a bit of contact with the Mercedes at turn 1. Not his fault in my opinion, but this car hasn't had it all its own way, and I think that's why we've got the mark on the door there of the tyre.
Couple more pit stops being investigated. One is for the Jack Russell Max Grip KTM, the other for Patrick Michelier's Ferrari. Michelier's stop particularly was slow, and also the Russell and Grip one was the other side of 3 minutes, but I wonder whether they came in after the window had closed. They mistimed it. Yeah,
potentially, because it's the only thing they could really investigate unless there's too many people working on the car. The driver wasn't behind the line, so I guess there's a few things you can investigate. But yeah, sometimes race control would rather do it after the race, get all the facts in place before they make their decision.
So their race leader, Michael Muir, comes through. There is the Ginetta again up through the approach to Blanchimont, and with 4.7 seconds in hand, all Michael Muir has to do now is bring it home. There is seemingly no stopping him, and this Ginetta has run like clockwork all day long.
Yeah, it just looks right, doesn't it? It's always an easy thing to say about a race car, but the balance of a car, the confidence it gives a driver is so important. One thing being fast over a lap, but being repeatable is the hard bit, and that's where you need a nice, consistent car engine. To be honest, that's something that Ginetta have always produced. No matter the car, the category, they've always produced a car that the drivers love, and this newest iteration of their race car versions seems to be exactly that.
There's Showtrup Kazava, the dominant Masters leader. Oliver Freimuth, despite a spin, is second in Masters, and Philippe Pret, despite 3 incidents, is third. So Showtrup Kazava has had a very, very good race, and he's on target for a class win. Welcome back to the GT2 European Series. This might well persuade him to come and do the rest of the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say so. Warning flag for car 3, track limits. That is our leader. That's almost inexcusable, really, with the pace he's at. There could be a delay on that, but the team will be making sure that Michael Muir is fully understanding that there is no risk that he needs to take. He just needs to bring it home. Here's Mike Simpson, Pro-Am leader, 5th overall, and now he's got some clean air. He's pumping in some pretty fast lap times, so much so he was actually the fastest man in the top 5 on that last time back.
Yeah, he's steadied that ship, hasn't he, against J-Mo Hartling, who is doing absolute best sector 1s when he can. But Mike Simpson looking as though he's going to be good to hang on to that class win for him and Lawrence Tomlinson. currently running in 5th place overall, the Pro-Am Ginetta. There it is. So if a Ginetta can have 2 class wins in one race, this is also good for trade. Mike Simpson, the MD of Ginetta, comes out of the Les Combes sequence of corners, now towards Bruxelles, rides the carbon exit. All good. And the clock down to the last 5 minutes of the race.
Yeah, actually bumped into Lawrence Tomlinson this morning and just...
Clumsy of you.
Yeah, sorry about that, Lawrence. And he was talking about where it's going for this GT2 project. The US seems very strong, and it's going to be really how many cars Ginetta can make to keep up with demand. And yeah, if we can get these cars in GT2 Europe more, but also in the US series, it's going to be a real good purchase for a lot of teams, I think, to get you a very fast race car quite affordably.
So Tomlinson then watching Mike Simpson on track. 5th the car is, and up through Piff Paff it goes. Mike with a big enough gap. Again, in the first sector, he loses a bit of time to the Mercedes and then buys it back in sectors 2 and 3. So it's a bit cat and mouse, that battle. 4 more minutes are on the clock. Lead gap has really shot up from 3 seconds after the stops to 7. And there's not a great deal Antoine Potty has been able to do. Michael Muir doing what his co-driver did, build and build and build that gap. He doesn't need to be building it. No,
interesting. Potty's stints, his first and his second one, same set of tyres, but they start off quick and tail off. I just wonder if the pressures keep coming up in those tyres. So they bled him in the pits. That gave him another bite of the apple, and then it's just gone up again. But his drop-off is around 2 seconds on each of his stints, from his fastest to his slowest lap, whereas the Ginetta seems to keep it in a window of well under a second, and that's really why this gap is so big from our lead car that we just picked up here into Les Combes. It's going to get one more lap at the end of this one, isn't it? So it's going to be one more time around, and again, those track limits just need to be monitored, and he needs to be super careful.
Michael Muir, who came through the Ginetta ranks in Scandinavia. It was initially in the Swedish Junior Saloon category, then he went into the Swedish Ginetta GT5s, then into the Ginetta Nordic Championship, and now with Ginetta into this GT2 European Series, powered by Pirelli. And it looks as though a second class win and a first overall win is going to go the way of him and Ethan Gialdini, who's been another loyal Ginetta customer with the G56 that they had initially in GT4 trim, and now this car new for GT2 at the back end of last season. And you can pretty much expect a few more to come onto the grid before much longer, the way they've gone today. There over the line is Philippe Pret, who's got ahead of Oliver Freimuth. That's your change for second in Masters then. So Pret through. This is probably one of the most hectic 50 minutes that he has had. Not really through his fault either. And you see how dirty the racetrack is there coming through La Source. From that angle, it looks okay. But the previous shot shows how much gravel and bits of debris are still on the road. Yeah, it could have been even more chaotic, because he could have been racing against his son, of course, who didn't get in the car after the drive shaft issue for that Audi. And, interestingly, Louis Pret actually missed the driver's briefing, got a €500 fine. Let's see how he gets the move done on Freimuth. It's round the outside, isn't it, for the Maserati? Very similar to Bovey's move, actually. So the Maserati is showing it's got good straight line performance, but also good braking capabilities to get the car stopped for the Les Combes chicane. And there is Philippe Pret then, coming out of Les Combes a lap later, clear of the Lamborghini. So having caught and passed, he's pulled away with alacrity. 7th now for Pret, but he's not going to catch the Masters leader unless Abkazova has big, big problems. There coming out of Bruxelles is the red Maserati, new livery for the car for this year, still being run by Luca Piri's team, which has rather cornered the market in GT2 in recent seasons. But Pret will start his last lap shortly. Michael Muir, in the meantime, is on his last lap, and he's going up towards Les Combes. There, Shota Abkazova 3rd. And for a Masters car to beat the Pro-Am contingent, that's quite something. Yeah, the Masters should be the slowest class out of them all, shouldn't they? But he has definitely bucked the trend on that. We briefly had a yellow flag at Blanchemont. It's gone back to green now, so everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. And we can get our first race of the day without a safety car, David, as much as you tried to curse it. And this was the reason for the yellow. Big, big lose from... Is that 115 or 116? It's either the Montserrat or Oxley Mercedes. I think the 116, just where he is on track now. The last lap, it was a 2 minutes 44 for that car, you're right. So 116, Brandon Oxley falls back behind Mike Simpson and J-Mo Hurtling now. who are still split by about 9 seconds. But yeah, Brandon Oxley having a spin and costing him 2 places. Keeps him third in silver, but 6th now, not 4th in the race. That is Mikel Nior. Time's up, checkered flag awaits. Really good drive and a good team effort this as well.
Yeah, pit stop was smart, wasn't it? I think going long in the first stint with Gilardini was smart because that kept them in front of Potti. And this is going to be a great result for Ginetta and CMR.
So the Ginetta booms up towards Blanchimont. Checkered flag at the ready. It's going to be a first Ginetta win outright in the GT2 European Series. They had a class win at Monza. They're going to win the silver category, but win the race outright here. As into the chicane comes Mikel Nior. And the GT2 European Series has again delivered with a really interesting race, but it has been dominated by this car, by this crew. Mikel Nior and Ethan Gialdini bring it home to win the 3rd race of the season in GT2 European Series. The fastest lap also being done by Gialdini from earlier on. Shakeup Kazawa is on target to win Masters, although I thought for a moment he was a bit slow coming through Blanchimont.
Yeah, he was fully on the brakes. He's okay, he's going to make it to the line, but I don't know if that was just him being cautious, but that caught me as well.
Yeah, unless with respect to him, he's flagging. He's done the race on his own, and you saw him taking on all the water, not drinking it, just pouring it over himself through his crash helmet in the pit stops. Antoine Potti takes 2nd. Shakeup Kazawa then takes a very, very good 3rd and a Masters win. And in the background, Mike Simpson and Lawrence Tomlinson, 4th and a Pro-Am win in the Ginetta. So a silver and a Pro-Am victory for the Leeds-built cars. Coming over the line for 5th place there, the lime green and grey Mercedes, J-Mo Hurtling and David Thelenius. And 6th place to this Mercedes that's clearly got an issue as well, because Brandon Oxley, after a spin, he's having to fight the car to the line, and he goes through 6th overall and 3rd in class.
He was having a sneezing fit coming around the last corner. The car was all over the place, but he will breathe a big sigh of relief. That was a huge spin he had, and the amount of times you see cars go in the wall there, he would have been very, very fortunate to carry on.
So we've got some more penalties being thrown. Stop and go of 69 seconds and 145 seconds coming after the pit window. I think those are the 2 cars. That's a rather garbled message, but there was Michelier and there was another one that were being looked at, and I think we'd decided that was for either being short on the pit stop in the case of one or coming in after the window in the case of another. So well done. Mikel Nior brings it home. Ethan Gialdini doing the hard work, and CMR doing what they had to do, keeping him out in clear track space. So Carl 73, Patrick Michelier, stop and go of 69 seconds, converted to 145 seconds, which is the drive time plus the stop and go, as a time penalty after the race for coming in after the window. And the pseudonymed Max Grip Jack Russell combination, a stop and go of 7 seconds, converted to 83, so that's your drive time plus the stop to be added onto the time at the end as well. With me?
Brutal.
It is. But like you say, it's a long pit lane, so that's why they're big numbers. So, there the cars on the in-lap, but a hat tip to CMR, to Ethan Gialdini and to Mikel Nior. A really, really good job done. Well done, Ginetta. And there you've got a GT2 car that looks the part, and perhaps more importantly, sounds the part.
Yeah, you feel it in the chest, don't you, as it drives past. And again, that's the appeal to many drivers. Is the car fast? Yes. Is it reliable? And has it got a draw? Has it got some sex appeal to it? And this GT2 car really does.
Have you driven one of these?
I have not, but I was tapping Lawrence up hard this
I can
morning
imagine, yeah.
to have a go at one.
Because I know you've driven other Ginettas, but this is perhaps the ultimate, isn't it, so far? So maybe let's see whether we can persuade Lawrence to let Joe have a go. Could do with a good track test in that car. Right, there is Mikel Nior. Then he makes his way down the pit lane. Ethan Gialdini, as we were saying, somebody that's raced Ginettas in the French GT4 Championship and a bit of Creventic Middle East racing. So they've made a good young gun partnership. And this silver class brought in this year has been a very good idea as well. And we're looking at big grid numbers, or bigger grid numbers than we've had in the category hitherto, which is all very encouraging. Mikel Nior then down the pit lane. There's the winner's board. He'll stop at it. The SRO team getting the cars in the right places. Winners' hats are ready for the drivers, and then they'll be taken to the podium. Antoine Potti for second, Shakeup Kazawa for third. They all arrive. Shota also a Masters winner. This isn't necessarily the end of the story, of course, with some penalties to be looked at after the race, but no dramas other than a warning for track limits for this car, for this man. Michael Nior is a delighted race winner. Loves the car, understandably so. Ethan Gialdini and Michael Nior are our winners. Helmet quickly off, unplugs everything, and Michael Nior, race winner here at Spa. And I suppose that's something else to factor in as well. If you're going to win, do it at Spa, because that illustrates, A, your ability around the circuit, but the car's ability around the circuit.
Yeah, it's one of the circuits where all drivers want to be fast because they know what it means. And for me, there's just not a better track in the world. And when you add some sunshine into it as well, it really gets good. And there's Mike Simpson, our Pro-Am leader, with the boss, Lawrence Tomlinson, on the right. So good debrief, but they will be very happy with their performance in both CMR GT2 Ginettas.
Well, let's hear from the other happy Ginetta drivers, Michael Nior and Ethan Gialdini, with Bryn Lucas.
Well, Michael, that's exactly what you want for the start of a race weekend here. First race of the weekend. You extend your lead in the championship as well, but it's hot work out there.
Yeah, it's definitely hot this weekend, but we're kind of used to it from Monza. It was just, car was amazing. Ginetta has been doing a really great job since Monza to, get us out in the front. And Ethan, my teammate, did an amazing start. So basically, I just had to keep the car on the track for the rest of the race. So it couldn't be better, yeah.
Give us some insights into the Ginetta around here, why it's so good, because it's a class winner as well behind. So it seems to have the form car around Spa this weekend.
Yeah, I think, we might be missing a bit of top speed on the straights, but in the corners, especially the fast sweeping corners here at Spa, it's just, wow, it's a pleasure to drive, yeah.
For yourself and your teammate in the championship, just how important is it that you start to build the lead? Because when you look at the points around you, you've extended over second place.
Yeah, I think it's, as you say, of course, extremely important. You never know how we will be in the next race or for the next race weekend. So, we need to make it count when we have the chance.
The next race is tomorrow, so not long to rest
no,
up.
No, sorry. Thank you.
That's a bit depressing for the opposition if they're lacking a bit of top speed. There, Ethan Gialdini arrives on the scene, all smiles. Bryn might be able to steam back in and have a word with a very happy driver, Ethan Gialdini. But yeah, if they're lacking a bit of a straight line speed, that car's going to be even quicker in the future potentially. But a job very well done. And doubling up, Ginetta. Pro-Am honours also going to Ginetta. Lawrence Tomlinson and Mike Simpson are victorious. We'll get to them in due course, but for Ethan Gialdini, he's another happy winner.
Celebration started behind you, Ethan. It was a very good first stint there. You had to really get your head down.
Yeah, it was really hard to do a good start, but honestly, we did the job. Just pushed at the end for my stint, and Mikael finished the job, so really happy about that. And yeah, it was a beautiful race.
It looked very nervy into the source at the start of the race as well. A lot can go wrong going into turn one, can't it?
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty hard, but at the end, it's a victory for us, so really happy.
You've done the first job anyway. Got to do it again tomorrow, but go and celebrate.
Thank you so much.
It's a lot of luck for this Ginetta from everybody. And Ethan Gialdini taking his first victory in GT2. And he and Michael Nior celebrate for the photographs with that winner's board. So Ethan Gialdini, Michael Nior win from Antoine Potty. In the end, the gap 8.6 seconds. It really had shot up late race. Shota Kaza third, taking the Masters win from Lawrence Tomlinson and Mike Simpson fourth, taking the Pro-Am win. David Thelenius and J-Mo Hartling fifth, second in Pro-Am, and then Adrian Ferrer and Brandon Oxley down to sixth after Brandon's big spin. Philippe Pret was seventh, eighth, Oliver Freimuth, both of them recovering after early dramas. Alexis Berthet and Roderick Gillon were ninth from Wilhelm Kuhner and Moritz Wiskirchen, and they started last on the grid. Team Pseudonym next, Max Grip, Jack Russell 11th from Thomas Anderson and Simon Birch. Sarah Bovey with Aaron van der Hengel 13th. With a time penalty, Mario Zeigler and Reinhard Koffler next from Victor Marash and Lennart Marionech a lap down. Alberto Di Martin and Neil Montserrat had a problem but did get home at least in 16th. But Patrick Michelier a lap down survived, and we lost Thomas Yu Lee and Nicola Piri as well. Shota Kaza though is the Masters winner. Brilliant job done to be third overall.
And covered in water, we saw you trying to cool down a fair bit out there, particularly in your pit stop. What a great performance, and coming home third overall as well.
Oh, yes, it was a fantastic race. It's a hard condition, hard. I don't know what temperature was inside my car, But anyway, it was more than sauna. But anyway, it's my favorite racetrack. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, organizers. Thank you, my colleagues. And I am really happy for this race. I unfortunately not participate in today's day and Friday, but my car is not best balanced, and tomorrow I will try to improve. You see, 2 places before.
Look out, everyone. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shakeup Kazava saying it was worse than a sauna in that, and also making the point that he wasn't here yesterday, so there was no free practice. All he's had are those 2 15-minute qualifying sessions. So the fact that the car may not be ideal, well, that's still a very, very good effort.
Yeah, hugely amazing performance from him, and yeah, it feels like everyone that's done well today still feels like there's more to give tomorrow as well. So
do you feel that way?
Never.
No.
I can only thank luck.
Not in your broadcast either. I'll do better tomorrow. So Shakeup Kazava is the Masters winner, and we haven't yet heard from the Pro-Am victors, but they are next, because Mike Simpson and Lawrence Tomlinson have won Pro-Am. They're with Brit.
Well, it was all done in qualifying, wasn't it, Lawrence?
Yeah, straight. That's it. Finished. Yeah. No, it's a great fun race. I really enjoyed it actually. We got a bit of a beating. We got beaten up on the bolt, but we managed to keep the pace up. Enjoyed it. It was a good race. Turn 1 was very hectic as usual, and then Mike just stroked it home.
You had a bit of pressure from behind, but it looked like you were able to keep the gap. There were a couple of fast laps going on behind, but it stayed around 9 seconds.
Yeah, we were comfy at that. I mean, the KTM was a lap down in front, and there was a Maserati, I think the Iron Dames behind. They were quick, but I just didn't want to compromise anything. You had a nice lead, and you bring it home, don't risk anything. But no, the cars were great, as Lawrence said. Big bop change between quali and the race, but I guess it's expected. I mean, this morning it was just felt like an F1 car. Not that I've driven many F1 cars, but it put a smile on my face. But no, great for the points. Was 4th into this weekend, so that's probably got us back up there now. So roll on, yeah.
And that coming back here, Lawrence, looking around, you see another Ginetta, one of your cars there, 1 overall. So that's got to be good for you, the brand, and also going to Spa.
Yeah, I mean the kids in that car are really quick, and you know. But Mike, you're overall pole. You're not so bad. Life in the old dog yet.
Well done, both of you. Go and celebrate, and then do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, can't wait.
Absolutely.
Cheers. Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks.
Good effort by Mike Simpson and Lawrence Tomlinson. Now talking about the kids in the other car, but Lawrence, who's been racing now for well over 20 years, came initially through Ginettas, had a spell in TVRs in British GT, and it was Ginetta that he decided to buy, and has made a vast success out of the company ever since. So our class winners we have heard from, and they'll make their way to the podium. Race 1 of the weekend in GT2 European Series began with the Ethan Gialdini Ginetta storming away from pole position, and a big dive from Andre Rokosh Mercedes creating drama because he gave a bit of hip and shoulder to others, and then Marius Eigner turned around Oliver Freimut. So that's scattered cars all over the place, with Laura van den Hengel's Maserati and Philippe Pret, similar car through the gravel, and Freimut rejoining a long way back. The road cleared, racing carried on, and up front, the lead car tried to get away in the hands of Gialdini as the recovering Philippe Pret got crowded by Andre Rokosh, who this time found the concrete. He was able, though, to get the car to a safe place and retire. Others, though, weren't so lucky because Stefan Rossina expired at the pit in, and that created quite a traffic jam. The other side of which was this stop for Lawrence Tomlinson to give way to Mike Simpson. Michael Muir took over the lead Ginetta and was still ahead of Antoine Potti by 3 seconds after the pit stops, and built that gap all the way to the end. Shakeup Kazava was heading for a win in Masters, and for second place, Philippe Pret moved himself past Oliver Freimut, going up towards Les Cornes. Shakeup Kazava on target for the class win. Brandon Oxley spun away 4th place overall and would end up 6th, although he kept 3rd as on target for the win. Michael Muir and Ethan Gialdini, fastest lap to Gialdini as well. And race 2 in GT2 is tomorrow at 9:20.